You guys want to talk about the Revelry a little bit?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Who's...
Yes.
Fallout.
I'm joking.
Fallout. How do you feel about the Revelry?
All right. Do we have someone in a studio booth somewhere? Pull the camera in on me. Pull the camera
You
in.
need a cold drink?
Slow down.
You're rubbing your shoulders.
Cue music. Fog machine.
Bungie, use the Crucible Labs. What happened, Bungie? We had this place where you told us it was like a playground where we could try out new things.
A safe place.
A safe place for shenanigans where we could
So the
run
guys who told
around
us
and
that
have
work
fun
at
and be
Bungie anymore?
free. I have no idea. What happened to Crucible Lab? Okay, so if you don't know what the Revelry is, it's timed spring event, and one of the rewards that you can get is this gear. And the gear, the armor, in combination with a certain type of buff, you can reduce your ability cooldowns, ability melee or grenade cooldown to mayhem level effects. And they allowed this to go into quick play and comp. Okay, so imagine that you went to a wedding, right, as a guest.
I love weddings.
Okay, and so it's time to have food. And you look at the spread.
Ooh, I love food.
Everything on the table,
They're serving
It's just-
Briar.
it's only carrots.
Briar.
That's the whole thing. There's different ways to serve carrots.
and Briar.
It's the whole thing. And then you're like, well, can I have some like champagne or something? No, it's just carrot juice.
Ooh.
And you're like, well, don't you have any other options for people who don't want carrots? And they're like, no. So it's like, if Bungie, with my crappy little analogy there, I'm just trying to say,
It was a beautiful
I
analogy.
like having options.
Wait a minute. How long
No.
does this event last, Fallout?
3 weeks, buddy.
3 weeks. So the Crucible got more grenades in it. For 3 weeks.
Mayhemified for 3 weeks. Yeah.
More is an understatement.
I made a video where I went into a game, I maxed out the grenade, and I put on the Shinobu's Vow. I fired the gun maybe 10 times in the entire match, and I top fragged with no problem. You can just
Me too. It's the first time I
the
was top of the
whole
leaderboard.
time.
Shinobu's Vow. Let's go.
And it was like, if they put that into a special playlist, like the Revelry PvP or whatever, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because then it would have been fine. Because if you didn't want that option, you could have been like, oh, well, that's fine. They can enjoy that. I'm going to go play quick play. But they're forcing us to drink the carrot juice across the entire board. We have no choice. It's in comp. It's like
I was surprised that it wasn't only effective in the Verdant Forest.
Yeah.
So I like that it is in the whole sandbox. As soon as I read it that they're putting that in quick play and comp, I was like, really? Oh, that's interesting. All right. And it pretty much turned out exactly how I thought as soon as I read on Twitter. And I was like, yep, yeah, okay, lots of grenade spam. Yeah. Because people were talking about, you just got to dodge the nades, man. Come on, just dodge the nades.
The nades.
just be good for it.
Did you play Destiny 1 year 3? I mean, you should be good at this by now.
Should be used to this. This is your fault for not preparing well enough in year 3 of D1.
So I feel bad for you, Fallout, on a PvP side. You know,
No, it's brutal. I like that because they came out with a statement. If you haven't read it, I think it's on DTG on Reddit, right? They came out because people were like, "Why did you put this in comp and like forcefully? Like, please tone it down. 'Cause comp is supposed to be about gun skill." Shocking concept. But
Grenade
they were
skill.
like, "Hey." So they replied. They were like, "Hey, we knew that the effects would be drastic, but we wanted to give it a shot anyway. We wanted to do an experiment because." Even if it didn't go very well, it's only for a short period of time. Which
Imagine if they had a place in the Crucible where they could run such an experiment.
Doesn't exist.
like I respect their chutzpah to try and shake things up a little because people like dealing with new things. But you gotta give us the option. We have what happened to the Crucible Labs? I feel like it's sitting in the garage with a tarp.
When was the
over it,
last time it
collecting
was
dust.
out?
last summer, right?
Oh, no.
I think summer.
Yeah, it was last
I
summer
think
before
they're-
Forsaken.
think they're low on resources, and I think that when I say that, they're busy with Destiny 3 as well as this season, whatever's coming. And we also know, you look around, not as many people are at Bungie as were there last year. Seemingly, people are moving on, and Activision's no longer there, and so I think they're readjusting in a lot of ways. And I get the sense, looking at their response too, they're like, we agree with you. It's a little intense, but that's it. We can't change it. Meaning we're a little busy with other stuff that we can't mess with this event beyond this. And it makes you wonder how much it was tested.
It's like
they obviously
good news,
tested
bad
it,
news, right? Because it's like, okay, clearly they're busy on more important things.
I hope that was a wood
I think
desk.
we all know it. That was not. Yeah, it's wood desk.
It's plastic.
They're busy with more important things. We hope.
That argument doesn't hold any weight with me because that's what I thought before Destiny 2 came out. It's like, the reason that Destiny Destiny 1 Year 3 was like crazy was because they're working on Destiny 2. It'll all be okay when Destiny 2 comes out. Don't worry about it. Destiny 2 is going to be amazing. They've taken all the stuff they've learned.
This is deja vu.
Destiny 1, and it's going to be amazing.
It just keeps
100% deja vu.
But
how about the game that we're playing now? You really focus on the game we're playing now and make the experience we're having now amazing, and then we'll trust you for Destiny 3.
But they got to look at appeasing the hardcore as well as bringing people in. We know that's always a tough one. So there's people, and I've heard from them, they're on the opposite. They're like, I came in, I actually am having kind of some fun in PvP, and they may only be there for this week, but they brought them back, and there is always the other side. It's hard to say it's 100% right or wrong, right? But Leopard, I was curious, did you get a chance to check out Revelry at all yet?
No, I did. Yeah, for the last 3 days, I've been playing Revelry. Got the Arbalest, first kinetic linear fusion.
Nice.
Got some nice 400 plus damage headshots in Crucible, but constantly getting skip grenaded nonstop.
I haven't gotten it yet,
Just be
Leopard.
good,
How does it feel in the Crucible? Is it like
for me, it feels like there's a little aim assist there, but it doesn't feel like Queenbreaker's power. Like it feels like a Kmart Queensbreaker kind of, like a discount Queenbreaker.
Yeah.
The blue light.
Yeah, but I mean, it is kinetic with special ammo, so that's to be expected. I mean, I'd rather run a snipe because you can pull the trigger and instantly fire it. I don't really like linear fusions because of the charge up, but I think it fills a niche role, which is like Queensbreaker, but not having to rely on power ammo for sure. But I mean, I'm never going to try it in PvE for sure. I have not played a lot of PvP lately, so the whole concept of shaking up the sandbox for PvP is interesting for me because I've not been enjoying PvP in Destiny 2 for a while. So I don't really find it as annoying as I'm sure as people who played all the time would.
Like Fallout.
But I can see where if I tried it more than a couple days, I'd probably be fed up with it because it turns into sort of like just a dice roll. Like how many grenades can you spam? How many class abilities can you spam? How many melee abilities can you spam? Because the refresh rate is just atrocious. It's like mayhem for one thing. And if you happen to be playing PvP and your essence or tonic or whatever it's called is lost and you don't have that refresh, like you're just at a complete disadvantage. It just completely throws you into a horrible situation that you have no control over until you realize, oh well, maybe there's 400 skip grenades around me because I haven't refreshed my own essence. Maybe I should go do that. And it feels kind of awkward.
I promised a friend who has long wanted her not forgotten. It's her birthday tomorrow.
Oh no!
Oh no!
So, yep. So in advance, we thought it would be a real nice surprise. We formed a group this Saturday. We're gonna go help her through the final leg of comp.
Who's gonna bring it to her that we got to postpone her birthday?
This comes.
Can I join?
I'm like, listen, Amber, don't fall out of love with that Luna. All right, girl. it's a reliable gun.
Gonna have to give it another 3 weeks for that.
Yeah, Briar, I'm with you. It's like I'm glad that they were open and that they were like, listen, you know what? We made a mistake. We tried to shoot for the moon here. They went all in, and they got called. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh man, how many times are we going to watch this exact scenario unfold? Did they not have a plan B?
So,
because
I want to say,
right?
I completely agree in those essences of PvP, and I was really surprised to see that was going to apply to the sandbox, especially comp, where there's a relative expectance to how it's going to go for those matches. So I thought that was very surprising. I will say, the Verdant Forest was fun. I liked it. I thought it was fun to play through, and I think the buffs for PvE is a lot of fun. I took the grenade, or no, the melee into strikes, and I was just chucking knives like crazy, just boom, boom, boom. You know, it was like cut code knives. It was awesome. Cut code knives, man, cutting pennies with those. It was great. So, yeah, I had Lord of Wolves out to intimidate the enemies, but I wouldn't shoot it. I would just throw knives. It was great. I'm a hunter.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a
Fear
hunter.
the fire, take the knife.
Exactly. You see Lord of Wolves, you go, yikes, man. You know, I have a knife in my head. It's great.
We'll give credit where it's due. I agree. I thought the event was really fun. A lot of people enjoying it. It's like a kind of a little remix of the experience that we had in the in the Festival of the Lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Verdant Forest doesn't get more difficult.
Yeah,
it just
that's
the same
what I wanted to say.
round after round after
could have been
branch
done
after
a
branch.
little. Yeah,
I'm actually really surprised.
What was the reason behind that?
I'm really surprised that they didn't.
35 rounds.
Yeah, they
hold on real quick. You go you go 35 rounds, then face of the bosses? Is that the number?
No, you can do whatever you want to do,
Revelry,
but it doesn't get any harder.
Unlimited. Yeah, it's the same thing. Glad on day one, I tuned into his stream and he was on like wave 300, and I was like, "Why?"
What triggers the
his
bosses?
chat was like, "Hey, why
just
not?"
The time?
When time runs out, or your
time.
team wipes.
Yeah.
Right. So the only thing that more rounds does is give you 5 extra seconds for the boss. I think typically for every branch. So if you want to make it easier to get through the 5 bosses, up to 5 minutes, it limits itself.
5 minutes.
So after X amount of branches, it's pointless.
Yeah, it's literally pointless. So that was one of my biggest things. Also, is like I want to say that like the sandbox change is really cool from a PvE perspective, but the fact that it doesn't get more difficult because the Nightmare Forest, whatever it was called, for Halloween was awesome. You went through, it got more difficult. There was modifiers every time you went up there, and it got like to a point where it was like, okay, this is just too difficult or whatever. And then they didn't do any of that, and I was like, oh, but why? Why not increase like the power or something every branch?
They made it more farm friendly because, like, if you go with a group and you really find your dynamic, you can only do just a couple rounds, and then you can go in with like 45 seconds if you're like really like connected.
3 branches, kill 5 bosses. You're
I don't know about that, Paul. I went in my second time with a random group, like just blueberries.
Oh, that's a mistake. But carry on.
We had 4.5 minutes, and we killed all 5 bosses. This is my second time in that event.
That's good. I mean, like, yeah, with my team, we were only rolling with like 45 seconds to a minute, and then we just maximized. Like, if you don't even need to wait for time to run out. We were jumping off the map because if you all wipe, then it just goes to the boss room, and then we were just burning through all 5, and they're like, okay, let's run it again. So they made it more farm friendly if you really know your routine. But I missed the challenge of the Festival of the Lost because it was so cool. It got like really hard and intense. This was like it was like a walk in the park.
Yeah, I appreciated some of the chill vibe of it at first. And they repainted it with this very verdant, green. But it is the Infinite Forest, and now it's truly infinite, which I get. But I'm with you guys. I would like to see something hybrid, which is doesn't like drastically go up, but maybe tiered out in a way that like, okay, now I'm getting in the 25s, I'm getting in the 50s. And for the people who really want to go the distance, it does start to just ramp up in difficulty and give you a reason to think about how am I going to make it farther. And it just seems like, why not? Because like to your point, it's like, why it's infinite. Okay. Like, why play 500 other than you're just farming, but for what even? I mean,
clout.
Yeah. Like, what do you like? I guess, like, you can get a drop, I guess, technically. But
to make extra sure you can kill all 5 bosses.
Get your 5 minutes.
I do like when you kill all 5 bosses. You do get a pretty good loot explosion after you kill all 5 bosses. Like, that's pretty cool. It's a good feeling.
I think they did a good job with the loot.
Yeah, they did a great job with the loot. It is only a 3-week event, so it's not like we're going to be playing this in 4 months saying, well, this is getting boring. But yeah, I do agree. Like, an increase in difficulty would have been nice.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about some of the good stuff. Like, I mean, we don't have to play the Verdant Forest.
True.
You know, there's power bounties that Ava has now, which is nice,
Yeah.
and they're not crazy, which is a nice way to get power, which we know these events, like previously, they didn't even serve that sometimes. So, you know, I think they did a good job with that. And like you guys said, I like the buffs to take them into other places. It's interesting. We talk about mixing things up sometimes, and they were able to do it, I think, in PvE overall, that seems fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even for the raid, I don't think anybody cares if some team's doing it, you know, cheesing it this week with these buffs. Like, it's fine.
No.
It was the, you know, a bridge too far with PvP. They should have.
Except for when you generate too many orbs and you get too many guitar heroes.
Well,
guitar
yeah,
errors in raids.
That was an issue they had to fix. What was it exactly? That precision headshot orbs were crashing the game, I guess?
Yeah, I give you guitar errors. I crashed, I think, 5 times in Last Wish on Wednesday with guitar errors with because too many orbs. So we said no supers this run on the last encounter in Last Wish, and finally no guitar errors. Like,
yeah, but that's just like, that's a bummer, you know, in the bug development process. Is like, well, that sucks. But design wise, like, I mean, I think the event is good I like the Infinite Forest. I did not, for the love of God, I did not want to go back to the EDZ or Mars and do a public event and wait for fragments of something to drop and pick up 12 of them, take them back. Like, we've done it. I don't even care if you added a tripwire that's new in this area. I'm kind of referring to, you know, the Forge stuff that we had to unlock. And so anyway, I was happy to see, like, bring back, even though it was reskinned, I was like, oh, okay, I'm happy that I can just take care of this in here. I can get Arbalest. It's a direct path to it, and I can get the suit, and I want it, and I want to get those antlers. Like, I just kind of want to collect and move on. So on that side, I felt pretty good about it. I think it was, at least for me, I think it was mostly PvP that I saw as like a big miss, but I don't play PvP right now actively, although if I want to hop in and get Luna or something, which I've really been thinking about, I'm like, maybe now is not the best time to do it.
Just talk to your friend Fallout. He'll help you.
I know, exactly. He's on PS4, though,
I've been planning on Penumbra to do it because I'm going to knock out all the stuff that I need over the summer.
Knock it out.
Just, you know, that.
How do you know it's going to be usable in September?
I don't care for that. If I'm going to get it as a collector, because I'm at the same point. I'm at the same point. I'm like, if I'm going to play PvP, it's usually going to be a different game. I'm just.
How's that Wizened Rebuke coming?
The Rebuke?
The one you get from doing what the Iron
what you're seeing right now is not recognition in Tefty's eyes.
No, I know, but like meaning you don't have that. That'd be a crazy grind for that.
The Rebuke.
The Verdukian.
I do have to click on my triumphs to get my Arbalest, but I'm under contractual agreement not to click on any triumphs unless it's Friday. So,
okay.
When's the NDA up on that?
I think when Sony releases the weapons. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, I mean, that kind of happened last Friday, so you're all good.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get into a lawsuit, you know. So, better safe than sorry.
But, come on, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, but overall, I like the design of the tower. I actually like the armor design. I mentioned last week I like the reactive ornament or whatever, the antlers that grow if you have a full suit or whatever, right? I would like to see more of that. But somebody actually told me, did the antlers go away after the event?
Yeah.
What?
They did.
Why?
Go away. Yeah.
Around. Why take it away?
I have the suit. Like, why take it away? Yeah, I don't understand.
That's weird.
Like, I think it's supposed to signify, like, the spring is over, but, like, that's not cool. I earned them. You know?
Yeah, you're in that cosmetics, man.
Yeah.
If I want to walk around with, like, a tail or something that grows out of my suit, like, just let me have
Exactly.
it. That's all.
Take a tail tonic.
Yeah, I would play with a tail. That'd be great. Tail tonic.
Yeah.
Tail wags.
Little you know,
There you go. Perfect what you do.
Why not?
For the hunter from Destiny 1.
But anyway, overall, I thought it was okay, but I understand the PvP rage that is happening. I was curious.
Yeah, they put out a statement.
Actually,
they said that they can't actually do anything until the event's over.
Yeah.
Right.
So it is the way it is. I actually got debated on Twitter. There was somebody changed their name to Bungie Help.
A fake account. I saw that.
I believed
That was
it.
really fun.
I legit believed it, and I
play.
said on stream, I was like, I can't believe they're gonna hot patch that. That's crazy. Wow.
Reverting it.
So proactive.
The
Bungie.
verbiage was like on point. Everything was.
Yeah, I completely
what
bit
you
it.
would
Yeah, the
expect.
language is
It was
perfect
it was
for
pretty
it.
fun.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
That was my fake account. Sorry.
Yeah. Damn it, Leopard. But, it's so stealthy. God.
I like to troll.
So stealthy.
Troll Leopard.
But as events go, though, what do you guys think? Did they do? If the PvP wasn't messed up, what do you think of the event overall? Do we want to see events handled like this, or what does it leave you thinking?
I think it's actually really cool. I mean, I said my piece about the Verdant Forest. I do think it should have slowly increased in difficulty. That way, it would have been interesting to actually go even higher in those branches. But aside from that, like the fact that they changed the whole sandbox with this mode, I think it's cool. I love to see stuff like that. I want to see more of it.
And it's completely free, right? Mm-hmm. Like this is available to anyone, regardless of what DLC you own or don't own.
Yeah.
So
they kept the power level at 200, which is great.
Yeah,
anyone
can
play,
access.
Really. So good job to them for doing that too.
Yeah. The Arbalest is exclusive for season pass holders. Is that right?
Is it?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Forget. Chat, help me out. I thought the Arbalest was for pass owners, but then the event, itself was fine. So that's how they.
So you wouldn't.
Something is just for season pass.
You wouldn't be able to actually.
Yeah, you gotta give something to us.
If you didn't own the season pass.
Now you make a good point. And people are saying it's free.
Oh, it's free for everyone.
Thank you, chat.
Great.
That's good.
What do I get?
Then what do you get for paying for this event? I guess this is one of those events that you did. You got
better
Reckoning,
Destiny 3.
You got Gambit. So that's okay.
You get your spare rations, man.
Exactly. You only get the crazy PvP experience if you have a season pass.
That's what you get.
You get infinity nades.
Stars,
if you have the season pass, you can buy infinity nades.
You guys want to do some Twitter questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Was there anything big in the update today, though, by the way?
Yeah, there was a TWAB, wasn't there?
Oh,
there was
the Spectral Blade thing real quick.
Oh, they talking about Spectral Blades?
They did, yeah.
What did they say about my Spectral Blades?
Let's take a look.
There's going to be a damage reduction. Out of stealth damage reduction reduced from 60 to 52%. In stealth damage reduction reduced from 62 to 54.4.
I'm always in stealth.
So let's read their summary real fast. As you are all aware, from the Sandbox team, Spectral Blades has been running amok in the Crucible. Below, you'll find a brief on our plans to rein it in a bit. The two main issues are the length of the super, especially combined with the Gwizinvest, and the survivability of the player while it's active. So one of the things Breyer said was they bring about 8% reduction-ish on what the damage reduction that you normally would have.
8% enough? I don't know, man. It still seems like you're going to have to really
12.
team fire that guy.
Yeah, but see what they wrote
10 to
though.
12, sorry.
Where's this thing? This change reduces Spectral Blades to have the lowest damage reduction of all the roaming supers while stealth is not active, and to be in line with the low end when stealth is active. With stealth, vision through walls and all the crap that they get, it's really strong. They write that this means a lower damage reduction will demand better planning and positioning to survive for multiple kills, which lines up with the Fantasy of the Path. And this is the first step toward trying out a roaming super with lower damage reduction. Let us know what you think. Now that's huge because a lot of my PvP friends are very vocal about they think that supers have too much incoming damage reduction. They miss the days of D1 where you could snipe somebody out of their super or something to that degree. So it sounds like Bungie is kind of hearing that feedback and maybe taking a baby step in the direction of toning down the excessive incoming power of the super.
Yeah, well, Gwizin is crazy. Everybody uses it, so they really seem to take a pretty big stab at this one. The one that stuck out to me was that light melee cost. You know how much of the super ability it costs you has been increased by 50%. They said, it might not seem like a lot, but it basically didn't cost you anything before that. That's going to make a big difference. Each swipe you're taking now, before, because we would all use that to just get
it
across
was free. You could just literally light swipe across the map. You just hear someone going.
Yeah. So they said they didn't want it to cost too much. It's the only way to chase people down, but they did need to, make a little bit of a difference. So that'll be interesting. And then with Gwizinvest, they say they're looking at it now and playing with some changes. They didn't say what it was, and we want to see how those initial changes go. If we decide to change Gwizin, you'll see it in Season 7. So
When season 7 start?
June.
I think at the end of June. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the first week of June.
Before Guardian Con?
I know you're right. It's the end of May, beginning of June.
Yeah, like
Yeah, they don't have the exact date yet, right?
most likely June 3rd or 4th, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with
we think.
Exactly. A month after that, yeah. So it's not that far away, but plus you got 3 weeks of
Nade spam.
Nate spam.
Yeah, that should keep me busy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just dodge.
I'm loving
Okay.
it.
Just dodge.
I had the advantage of
Come
finishing
on.
my Thorn quest today for the Crucible portion with the Void hand cannon kills.
Nice.
I never played comp because I was playing so many other games. So my Valor or whatever it's called was like 200 to 300. So I was able to get the hand cannon Void whatever kills done for my Thorn quest in like 3 or 4 games because my Valor was so low. And holy God, everybody threw skip grenades at me. Like it was just. Why is skip grenades like the thing? Like it's the thing that everyone uses. I would use my hunter dodge.
They're Liam Neeson's, man. They chase you down
to undo the tracking.
Yeah.
But because there's so many skip grenades coming at me, it would untrack and then retrack, and I would still die. And I was like, well, what do you do?
And then they got another one. They're like, oh, you're around the corner?
Look at why can't I hold all of
But
these?
as someone who doesn't play PvP that much, it's fun. It's interesting because I don't live and breathe it every day because I play so many other games. So it was a nice change up because, to be honest, Destiny 2 hasn't been something that's been attracting me to come back to play all the time. So I can see where if you're someone who doesn't play it all the time, it's fun to have something just fresh and new to play, but it does get old pretty quick because of like the lack of control you feel you have over it because it's just someone spamming grenades all the time.
I think those skip grenades are
interesting
a good
for a little
example of what's wrong with the Crucible right now. The fact that somebody can throw something at a corner and chase you around that corner without ever putting themselves in danger, like fundamentally just isn't fun. I'm sorry. That's not a fun thing.
It's fun if you're killing people.
We've had problems with nades in the past with Destiny, obviously. Stickies and
fusions are fine. Viking funeral is fine.
Fusions should be nerfed. What?
No, it's fine.
Is it too late? Can we still go back to Destiny 1 and nerf fusions?
Fallout, you didn't have a chance to experience trip mines with young Ahamkaras, did you? People were saying that the recharge rate and uptime for those was pretty nuts too, I guess. But for trip mines, that they were like,
but there's
because it's the same thing. You could just keep doing it
to go around.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrible.
Got weeks. So anyway, and then Iron Banner is back next week. I don't know if we already mentioned that, but
yeah, good stuff.
I like that rocket launcher that they're giving away with Iron Banner this time. It's just cool looking.
Yeah.
Twitter questions?
Yeah,
anything else Destiny related we want to talk about before?
Hey, you said that 15 minutes ago. I guess it's time.
Yeah.
That happens all the time, Stealth.
Don't call me Stealth. Call me...
He's the
Leopard.
Leopard.
Lep.
Big
Not
lep.
Leo.
Rockabilly666 says, please ask Leopard what his favorite brand of sparkling water is.
Ooh.
Kirkland brand sparkling water, grapefruit flavor, definitely.
Ooh,
cheap.
Do you like LaCroix?
And all the great,
store brand.
It's Costco. Kirkland brand is Costco.
Costco.
Really cheap, and all the great sparkliness of soda, carbonation of soda without any of those unnecessary calories.
Hashtag not an ad.
Not an ad. No, I'm not sponsored by Costco. That's the funny thing.
Good, 'cause
Kirkland doesn't
sponsored
sponsor
by
anybody.
What is the flavor?
Kirkland brand.
Grapefruit?
Grapefruit, yeah.
It's the whispering.
It's like drinking water, but someone in the nearby room yelled grapefruit.
Yeah, there you go. They have a professional person whispering to get the name into it because they can't. Somebody said that in my chat recently. I thought it was hilarious. Can't remember who though. My bad. What about LaCroix though? Do you not like LaCroix?
Yeah, it's just more expensive, like an extra couple cents. So we just go to Costco.
Dude,
I'll get
Kirkland
LaCroix
stuff
at
in Costco is so
Costco.
yeah. It's pretty baller, actually.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Workaholics if you ever watch it.
I'm trying to be a full-time streamer, so I'm trying to save money. I'm sorry.
Do you always
It's smart,
do
man.
you
It's
find
smart.
it strange when somebody is horribly opposed to sparkling water?
It's because they haven't tried it. They're just hating on it because it's cool to hate on stuff.
No, there's a lot of people that are like, this tastes like actual ass in my cup. You're actually shoving down fecal matter down my throat when I'm drinking this. I'm like, it's just water with carbonation. I don't understand what's going on here. This is I'm confused.
I used to not see the purpose of it, but now that I drink water all the time, like it's nice to have like water and then have something water that kind of punches you in the face a little bit, just because it's nice.
It's like extreme
variety is
water.
the spice of life. Like extreme you need something different.
This ain't your grandma's water, all right? This is hardcore water.
Plants like it.
It's fizzy. I agree. It's exciting. It's like exciting water. That's
exciting.
Static water.
Yeah, it's static water.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of people out there that are like, are you kidding me? I will not drink.
I fear for the people you're hanging out with, Tefty. We got to have a conversation.
Yeah, Tefty,
who's like
I'm surprised you guys haven't run into this. Like,
I've run into some of these people.
It happens
they
all
hate
the
it.
time.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm talking about.
And I'm like, I don't like. I
feel
get you don't like it. Sometimes it's like it's more bitter to them or whatever it is. It's just not as refreshing to some people, and I don't understand that as much.
My theory,
I get.
My theory is that
not as refreshing, and I hate that it tastes like assholes.
Well, I haven't heard that as much.
Yeah, I've never heard. Oh, it's just not refreshing. No. It's like that is actually violating my taste buds.
Liquid ass.
Yeah, like that.
You're drinking the wrong type of sparkling water.
So my theory is that they're very used to high sugary drinks, and so if you're used to like having what's the Taco Bell? You drink the hell is that?
Baja Blast.
If you're used to getting the blast in the mouth from Baja,
what the hell is that?
then
Mountain Dew
LaCroix,
Baja
you're gonna
Blast.
obviously be confused and feel like you've been violated in the taste buds.
Yeah, you drink too much sweet.
Yeah,
I love sparkling for the record. Yeah.
Have you ever had diet soda and a candy bar at the same time?
No.
Yeah.
It makes the diet soda taste so bad because diet soda on its own tastes like it's got sugar in it. But when you have actual sugar to compare like artificial sweetener to, like it really does taste bad. It's weird. But maybe you're right. It's just people who have a lot of sugar go to something that doesn't have any sugar in it, like has sweetener in it.
Well, they get that carbon flavor, and then that sweetness is in there, and they're like,
Ass.
All right, we spent a lot of time on the sparkling water.
It's been coming up a lot in my chat lately.
That's all right. I've learned a lot about Tef's friends and sparkling water.
I drink LaCroix a lot on stream, so it comes up.
I love LaCroix key lime, by the way.
I'm a LaCroix guy.
Delicious.
Worst
LaCroix
flavor?
boy.
Worst flavor? Coconut. Awful.
Ooh.
Most people hate it. I'm okay with it, but I prefer if you'd mix it with something. Yeah.
Wow.
Like Baja Blast.
What's another question?
Going Commando AZ says, what's Destiny 2 missing that made Destiny 1 so good? Also, what kind of sauce do you recommend on your trash fries?
What?
Trash fries?
Okay.
Trash fries?
Trash fries?
Okay, Going Commando is a long-time viewer of my community. Trash fries, so back when I was a computer programmer, I sat next to the break room. The CEO would come by with his... I can't believe I'm going to say this. He'd come by with the rest of his meal for lunch and just drop it off on top of the garbage can. And as
I got it now.
Yeah,
okay.
as an aspiring as a poor new hire, I'd be like, okay, well, I mean, I was like, I saw him walk by. I'm in the break room. He just dropped them off. I mean.
It's like Seinfeld.
Pick those up. He just dropped them off. They look good. They taste great. This is good. Like, there's nothing on them. Like, it's not dirty. Right? It's fine.
It's just proximity of the trash. It's not actually
right
with the trash.
Meanwhile, the CEO is around the corner with the rest of upper management. Like, is he going to eat it? I'll give you $10 if he eats it.
Dude, there was a camera in there.
Maybe.
There was a camera in there.
So I ate them and I felt great because I'm a creature of convenience. I don't like driving somewhere to get lunch. I don't like to spend money on stuff. Like, I'd rather be hungry than spend money on stuff because that's just how I am. So like I rarely when I stream I go hungry because it's just how I am. It's how I'm built.
Yeah.
And so like my boss would drop off trash fries. And
can't you have your wife come by while you're streaming and put some fries in the trash?
That was 5 years ago. I've now.
He wasn't technically dropping off French fries. He was throwing them away in the garbage.
I love the euphemism of it. It is an important distinction.
I tried to sugarcoat it, but yeah, he threw them away. But I picked them off the top really quick before any bacteria got into them. So there's a great clip on the Nightbot commands that has my explanation of that.
I love that.
So besides that, the Destiny portion of the question was what's
Destiny 2 missing that made Destiny 1 so good?
I think that's probably the hardest question to answer of anything that I've ever heard, because it's one of these things that I can't really put my finger on, but I have always felt like it's Destiny 2 is missing something that I can't figure out. And I draw it back to, is it the fact that, Destiny 2's first impression was negative? We had a sandbox that was double primary that wasn't very fun. And, eventually they fixed that. And now it's, better than it was arguably in D1, where we have the ability to mix and match, hand cannons that are kinetic or energy, shotguns that are kinetic energy. We can mix and match much more than we could in D1, but still it doesn't feel as fun. Is it the fact that we had all this work and time into D1, and then they took that all away with the D2's release, because they took all of our loot away because we lost it all with the Red Legion coming.
How about freshness? Destiny 2 doesn't have the freshness that Destiny 1
right. With D1, it was there's always this feeling of novelty, where it's a brand new experience that we've never seen before, and D2 is just sort of a sequel that we've already experienced, and so it just feels less special because of that. I think for me it's a culmination of all three of those things, where the first impression is bad, where they took our loot away, where it's just not as special, as fresh as D1 was, where it's just not as novel as D1 was. All these things create.
On console, I would argue that Destiny 2 doesn't feel as good as that. Like, just the general gunplay doesn't have the same.
Yeah, there was something there. Remember with hand cannons in particular at launch, we were all like, wait, what's going on?
It felt weird.
Yeah, and my problem is, like, I went from console to PC, and it's hard for me to compare back to D1 because my PC experience is so limited, but maybe it has something to do with the fact that the game just doesn't feel as good as on PC as it did on console. But it's really hard for me to say because I haven't gone back to console for Destiny in years. But for what I've drawn the conclusion that it's a combination of all those things, that where no matter what you do, I don't think Destiny 2 can ever be as special as D1 was for me, because it was just such a new experience that was just so fresh and new and fun that D2 can just never live up to that.
So I agree with most. Yeah, I pretty much agree with all that. But I also want to add that I think a big thing that happened in D2 that it started with was the sandbox, the way the sandbox was built and the way the loot was set up. And then the way they tried to fix that with Forsaken. Forsaken obviously got a lot better in terms of loot, but it was still like, okay, so here's the beginning of how they're reshaping this, and I can't wait to see how this is going to evolve over the year. And it didn't really evolve. It just was these cherry-picked moments of weapons that come into the meta, and not really adding interesting variety into the sandbox and the loot. That I think D1 had a richer sandbox and a richer loot variety overall, because even though there was some serious droughts like the Taken King drought, there was still things being found at the time during those droughts that people were discovering, the different roles of weapons that were suddenly like, oh, this is actually a standout right here. This is surprising. And I don't really feel like we're having that in D2.
We never have vendor refreshes. We never have sandbox updates.
Yep.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
No arms day. No, there's nothing to log into on a daily basis and see what's
my answer was going to tie into that. I think we just need more end game level grind, because it's just not there. I mean, part of that is chasing the weapons that you feel are interesting, the roles that you think are good. It's like something like Trials was kind of small, but like people liked signing in for the challenge every weekend. We don't have that now. It's sort of like it for the PvP element of it anyway. Once most people get their pinnacle weapon, they stop playing because there's no reason to play beyond that point. If we have
I've never got a pinnacle weapon.
Trials kept PvP alive in D1.
It did. It did. If there were more carrots that we wanted to chase on the stick, then it would be more. But some people like Leopard, they're not enticed enough to even want to go after the pinnacle weapon.
You
and
said
the people
you hated
who
carrots.
I did say that.
The wedding example, man.
But
I'm sorry. I don't want to derail.
You're
I just couldn't wait
mixing
to put them in.
metaphors here, buddy.
Sorry. This is carrots and PvP
cutting me
that
off
are in
with
front of you. The others are juiced.
You think because you have great hair, you can just cut anybody off?
I'm sorry. I do apologize.
Sick friend.
I had to get it in there.
But like,
Really cut to the
so
chase there,
people either aren't enticed to go for the pinnacle weapon, or once they get the pinnacle weapon, they stop. We need more reasons to continue playing.
Well, wait a minute.
At the end of the game.
Is that a problem with the loot or the game mode isn't fun?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, it's both.
Because I played Trials far longer than I needed Trials guns and armor. I liked
it wasn't just for doctrine.
because it was fun.
Yeah, I liked playing Trials.
I don't play competitive because it's not fun. It doesn't matter what the loot is. I just don't like it.
Yeah, it was a sprint compared to a marathon, because with Trials you could just do one card, and if you got a flawless card, you're like, oh, nice, and you were like, you felt hyped up. You felt like you accomplished it. But like comp is just never. It's like a never-ending slog.
But Paul, actually, are you suggesting that you don't like pinnacle weapons? And you prefer the rolling?
That's a different question altogether. I like the idea of being able to go through an intense grind to receive a trophy weapon that you're truly proud of. Because when I earned my Not Forgotten, I felt really good about it for an extremely long time. It's a great when you unlock the thing that you're going after. You're like, oh man, I
freaking earned it.
Yeah. You go through the blood and the sweat. Now, do I like what it kind of did to the meta, where it was like such a powerful weapon that I don't know, because it kind of did really drastically alter the meta to on console anyway, to the point where you borderline need one now. I don't know if that's something that I agree with or liked. I just like the feeling of having that thing that you really want, and then you chase it down and you're like, hell yeah. The thing when you go to the tower and other people see it and they're like, oh, that guy's
I mean, that's
thing. You know what I mean? That's
why
the feeling that I like.
I had people carry me in Trials to get the Doctrine for a while when it was just so incredible. Yeah. It was one of the absolute tops, and once I got it, I was like, all right, this is worth it. Different, but so I mean, I believe they need those types of things. But yeah, the meta
I feel like
chase for those random rolls of Destiny 1 was very different.
I feel like that is in the game though. Like if you show up with a Not Forgotten, people are supposed to be like, damn, you got.
Well, they are. Yeah.
Or if you have the Unbroken title, then people should be like, wow, okay, that's
right,
a lot of investment.
The point is, you've climbed the predictable mountain, and there it is. There's your Not Forgotten. You did it, but it was tough, and not guaranteed, but it is predictable. Whereas a little different than getting the God Roll Ass Luna, and I thought that was maybe what I thought was getting, or Palindrome, which you just bought from the vendor probably. Right?
It still feels that way, and I like that. Again, like for the Unbroken title, I'm still going for that right now. I'm 2 out of 3. But like there needs to be more, because the average player probably isn't going to be going for Unbroken. The average player is going to go into PvP and they're like, all right, let's get this over with. They're going for the pinnacle gun. If they get it, great. They're like, thank God I got it. Feels really good. Now I'm out. And we can't have just one mountain to climb. There needs to be a whole range of mountains, because that's what keeps people invested in playing and having fun.
Right? It's like,
I think it goes back to what you were saying, Briar, is that the game mode just is not what it was when Trials came out. Trials had a certain special sauce along with the sandbox that it had problems. I'm not saying it didn't. Obviously, there was issues with the game mode and issues with the sandbox and all that. But when you compare the two, there was more interest in what we had in D1 for that stuff. And that's what D2 is missing, is that there's...
It's funny how it drifted so heavily towards PvP with that question. It could have gone anywhere, but PvP really was the one that we focused on.